Yeah.
Oh.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I mean, and I have. I can play it. They're very, $300, so we all stipulate. No, we probably need the city then.
Yeah, you know, that's very easy.
Yeah.
Compared to, I mean, anything else.
Yeah.
Where
There you go.
They do
you could really not that either.
Hello, Ray, how'd you wait? Not too bad.
No.
Little up, little down, with room. How many more do you have?
Right.
The chemo is done. We're in transition now.
I was thinking about
Yeah.
Sure.
Much out of free you got in that system.
Over the years, the prior year. I can't. It's like, sometimes I don't think of wearing socks, I get to go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no other way to say it.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Ray. Hey, Ray. Oh, yes, take care.
I'm doing good, how are you?
Yeah. Really?
That's okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks.
Sure.
I just ordered the library. How are you?
Get that email from Jackie Jane? We never. We never got treated.
Yeah.
No, well, we did it last year.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't know how far
It's a
it was.
double.
No, I never got it.
Oh.
Yeah, but, yeah, I never got it. I ordered it, you know. So she's not done yet.
Look at that last. No, but she's.
Players just gave it, it might be the reader, Tommy. When he's on
Now
council.
you gotta-
Right. That's how we have
It's
it.
fun.
It really is.
October 30th, 2001.
No, by the color of favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it about?
Just Myers and his years at the council.
Very good.
I miss those bundles.
So someone had feedback, so.
No.
I
You're great from here. Chris.
You gotta get over Thanksgiving.
It's okay when they say that.
Oh, you're ready to. Randy's. What?
Primary lost the run.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
Trying to not film the public.
Kind of, you know.
But if you turn and speak to the public, you'll be right in it, like.
They had to get some bridge done. That's why.
This is live video, but are you able to take stills off it so you have pictures of me? Video evidence.
All right, Mario, you ready?
Yes, ready when you are, Council President.
It's 6 o'clock, let's call the meeting. This is your time when it comes to order. Clerk, let's call the roll.
Sheasley.
Here.
Fisher.
Here.
Roundstrow.
Here.
Mylum.
Here.
Cook.
Here, Adam, are you out there? All right, Adam, can you come forward? Okay. So as you know, the mayor has a public hearing on the budget.
Yep.
And I know you sent, the council an amendment.
Yep.
On behalf of the mayor. On Friday, Thursday or Friday?
It's Friday morning.
Okay. Okay, can you talk through both of those amendments?
Yeah, so the first one that's less debatable, would be from, it is parts. So it's 70, 20. It is on page 8. It's line. A000473. For $8,000. It was a formula error on my end. It was left off as 0 on the original budget, but that's the contractual obligated holding allowance for all the members of CTEA and CSEA for parks. The other one was for $34,600 or $400, and that's split across. I can call it the specific lines. I'm just gonna follow them again. Basically the salary line for the building inspector, salary lines for the treasurer, salary lines for the clerk, the salary line for DPW, and the salary line for Parks and Recreation. And the idea is to bring in a part-time account clerk to assist with, there's some scanning, some organizational stuff that we need help with on this end, as well as, when we get busy for tax collection. We could use an extra person to get the payments processed quicker, we'll get kind of calls where, oh, I sent my payment in last week, but it hasn't been put through, but it's just a pure timing, we can only handle so many transactions a day. Get this extra person and allow us to process quicker, as well as give us coverage for when, like, the DPW and the Parks and Recs clerks call out. That somebody's over there, answer the phone, schedule us in your van, keep the POs or payroll moving, kind of have a person that's cross-trained across all these departments. As well as the idea would be then, if we had an account clerk leave, we would then have a part-time that could step into be a full-time and not have that transition loss. And then we'd then be back hiring another part-time to cover. When it comes to that point.
And I sat down with the CSEA and asked them what would be the least amount of hours we could do this with. I was hoping less than 20, but 20 is the least we can do. They want to say, we can do 20. I'm considered I can do 20 after the first year or the second year. But we've got vacations, we cover for the girls. DPW, Gina's been trying for it for a long time. You know what? She's gone right now. 2 weeks, she's back very soon. She's under stress, and I don't want to lose so many girls. I think they work hard, and I think it'd be a good idea to split amongst all of them. And but we need one person to run it, and I would suggest Adam do that sort of thing. He said he would do it no problem because I don't want different departments pulling for 3 different directions. It wouldn't be fair to the individual. It would be a perfect. But we can guarantee her 20 hours a week.
Was this position? I was gonna ask a similar question. Was this brought up through civil service?
We brought it up to the union, and the union has expressed interest that they would sign an agreement for it. We haven't bridged the gap with civil service yet. We do know that there's an active list. There is, I think there was 1 or 2 people on the list from.
Correct.
When we checked it in February. When we were gonna try to hire for the position as a full-time position, and there was 24 spots.
So is this already budgeted? Are we taking some from these other lines and It's a wash or is this an addition?
This is an addition. Yes,
And the position would flow in a clerk position between the different departments, so it wouldn't be union issue or.
they would be, so that's why we need so the next steps from here is the budget would get approved, we get a written MOU or MOA, I forget which one. From CSEA to basically create this position, which they already have through part-time dispatchers, so basically it's just an MOA to add. The title account clerk to that part-time dispatcher section, just basically giving. They get some basic CSEA protections being a part-timer, but not the, obviously the full benefit of being a full-time CSEA member.
The 34,400 a year, that's for 20 hours worth of work?
It's 25 hours worth of work at the lowest account clerk rate. Which is what the union said we'd have to pay them. Would be whatever the account clerk type is one, it's the property.
So that's roughly 34 hours an hour.
7,000 a year.
30,000 a year for a full-time position.
Well,
And you-
no, because they're gonna remember they're only $35 workers
Oh, I'm just saying if we're
on there,
Right,
right?
so I want to say, I don't want to misquote you, so I want you to say, you used the word fiscal cliff in one of our last meetings. You said we're heading towards a fiscal cliff. And now, as the third board council member just asked, is this an addition or is this for redistribution? And you said it's an addition. So we're gonna hire a new part-time position at 34,400 as we're heading towards a fiscal cliff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Also, next question, I don't know if it's to you or to the mayor. But when the city clerk started at 57,000 and we had a dispute on whether or not that was supposed to go to 65 on 6 months or summers or whatever. But we brought him to 65 and the mayor all in sum basically said we were bankrupting the city by giving him such an enormous salary. But this new position based on the hourly rate is actually $2 an hour more than what the city clerk makes.
I think you're tough, so I would have to look back at it, don't quote me on. Is it
Okay.
okay?
But either way, we're talking about approaching a fiscal cliff while creating more hiring line. And we did this at the 11th hour on a Friday email after we already had a public hearing on November 5th.
It's like $27 now. It's 25 hours a week times.
I'm sorry, what? The public hearing is still open,
1,300.
but they posted another public hearing tonight at 7 p.m.
Divided by $1,300 is 26.92. So it's definitely not 34.
So it's $27 an hour. As we loom towards the fiscal cliff, we're gonna hire someone else, put them on, and create this new funding. I am a complete, I'll vote no on the complete budget over that position. That we should not, we should have been talking about this in October. We should have been talking about this on November 5th. But instead, we had a public hearing on November 5th. I sat up there at one point and said we had a good budget. Everything, the volunteer fire department, police department, vehicles, everything's happy. Then we leave here on November 5th. We go home, we're home for over a week. On the Friday before the council meeting, we get an email, oh, by the way, we're adding 34,400 to the budget lines to hire a new position.
This was just added to me on Friday, last Friday, by the city treasurer. That it just brought to my attention.
So I think the need arise when we had an account clerk in one of our departments have to take a Friday and a Monday off, and it caused a big turmoil trying to get payroll POs to get things scheduled. And that's when it got raised to the mayor's attention that we needed it.
So is this one of the lines that was cut?
Yes.
It
This
was,
Because there was a built-in position.
it
for
was
last year.
in 2024's budget, it was built into the treasurer's budget as a full-time person.
So that was part of the slashes.
And it didn't get cut, exactly.
Yeah.
So we cut that full-time position from 24's budget to the budget that was presented on the first. And then now we're adding this part-time position. Like I said, the need kind of came up over the beginning. Basically, that week after the council meeting was that weekend.
But in typical fashion, what we do when we have to, which at least appears at my time on the council, we have a problem with people claim they're overworked, we throw stipends at them. So isn't there a way to throw a stipend at someone else to cover that Friday, Monday? Right, but there's a way to say, hey, this person's overworked and this person's taking off, or we need this person to slide over. $1,000 stipend, or $1,500 stipend, as we're doing in the clerk's office, is a lot different, and a yearly stipend that we would get to discuss versus hiring a new body for 34,400. As again, we approach a fiscal cliff.
Do you know if
Like
this
I
is
said,
a risk?
it's gonna come down, it's budgetary anything. It's service over expense. And I think there's some holes between, some of the organization and clerical tasks that haven't been done over the years in the clerk's engineering or building and treasurer's office that need to be done. And if we want to continue to not keep doing them, then that's fine, and we'll cut this position. Or we can, try to improve the service of the clerk's office, improve the service of the building office, improve the service of our parks. Direct department is the idea. So, I hear it. I absolutely hear what you're saying, Chris, that it's last hour, 35 grand. But I mean, there's a lot of other things in here that you could find to do the same type of cut if you want to talk about, service.
Could we
Now-
pay?
Adam, you might not know this answer, it might be a question for the mayor, but is this in response to the civil service commissioner's request to do that work assessment?
No.
So to get this additional services, we have employees that are already on the payroll. If they have to stay after to work in the building inspector's office to scan in some documents, can we pay them overtime?
Probably an option.
They haven't been trained though, right?
I mean, you could probably have your same clerk, whatever, I know the building clerk thing, but, obviously she could stay after she was interested in doing the same thing with, the clerks up in my office. I'm sure there's a way we could work that into an agreement to go overtime, but I don't know how much overtime are we gonna give them? And you're getting half the amount of time.
You can meet with more than just a little bit of overtime. I mean, you've got a fire assistant over there, she leaves, the weeks they leave, who answers the phone. When Gene is gone for 2 weeks in this area, it caused turmoil over there, who answers the phone, who follows up on the messages, who follows up on the emails? I got Dave Pronzak stopping what he's doing on the road to do that, and what you presented to me was, it's a need overall, the whole city, the whole CSEA.
That's my understanding. That was always the intention of it, was that it would be an account clerk that would be cross-trained so that they could be plugged into any position.
So what happens when that account clerk takes off on vacation or takes off on leave or
I mean, they just don't get paid. If they're
they don't get paid,
part-time.
but then if another employee is off on 2 weeks of vacation and that person's off, then we're back to square one, but now we've added an additional line where we've hired a body. Financially speaking, it would make more sense to pay overtime to people we already have. Or give a stipend to people we already have, rather than try to bring in a new body. I think you guys at the council before my time did the same fight with the fire department. When you guys argued about adding an additional line to the fire department, the argument was it would still not reduce overtime by hiring more people. It's basically the same thing here, just change the word fire department for clerk's office or audit person or whatever title you want to use.
That one did already, or salary limits.
Did it?
Yes. Well, since then, so we do. Exactly.
So adding more staff is never the answer.
I think personally, for me, I'd like to see the civil service commissioner's assessment, and they gave each of the civil service secretaries job duty log that they had to return to the commissioners for a review, and I'd like to hear from the commissioners on that assessment before it warranted and before anything like that's added. I mean, I understand the uniform, I mean, that's a contractual agreement, but I think this actually warrants further discussion from us.
I mean, this is just coming out of the general fund, reserve fund anyways, at this point. It doesn't have much like-
Right.
The tax cap, so it'll always be amended next year and it'll affect it the same way. I mean, I wouldn't hear marking it or
Yeah, we could,
talk about it,
right.
but I think, I have heard from some people, I think, same people that some people are over. They're looking for assistance. I think they are looking for more help rather than more pay. It's important to get balance, work-life balance. So I do think it's important. At this point, it should be something we should consider. There was the process with the review of their positions and the jobs that they're still getting back on. I do think it's a worthwhile position. And at this point, we add it now or we kick the can down the road. So next year, it's just going to be added to the amount taken out of the reserve. Anyways, what I would like to suggest, and I've brought this up in the past, I mean, we sit here and we talk about the secretary's not here to answer the phone, another clerk's not here to answer the phone. We have a VoIP system. That's all the same system. I still don't understand why You can't have somebody centrally answering the phone and passing it along. It's just switching somebody over to the same, that different section. If that's something.
Calls forward.
So they have about between the DPW.
Yeah, but if someone calling, so on the phones have separate phone numbers too, though. So if somebody calls the fire secretary phone, for example, specific, you can't forward. The fire secretary phone, you know.
We can't do a call forward.
Everybody in this, when somebody calls the city, they don't call one central number, they're gonna direct it back out, all our phones have direct lines. So if somebody's calling, fire secretary calling, how's that calling?
You can do it.
It does give you an idea.
It does, because they do, because I called Parks or whatever, for
We
a
can do
year,
that.
it flipped over to
Yeah,
DPW.
that we can do.
But, you know, so I
So there's one
imagine the
phone.
technology there to flip it.
It's the same building, we can do it there. And they do help each other.
No, I'm just saying this as a suggestion.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm open to the idea, just put a one general phone line and.
Yeah,
somebody
which is-
direct it out.
It isn't really a heavy lift if we reevaluate the phone system.
My suggestion is I'll present the budget with the adjustment of $8,000 tonight. Mention it 3 times and the budget will go through tonight. We'll look at in conversation regards to what's we look about civil service evaluation.
And we can always.
Yeah.
Remember when it's So what would the true number be?
The only number that'll, well, obviously there'll be the 5 different budget line numbers, the number. On page 10, I believe it is, the last appropriate fund balance / Scott stabilization fund, the 2,081,000. Yeah, 2,081,000, that's gonna obviously drop by 34.
So for purposes of resolution 2,
I don't think anything on that was it. Yeah, nothing changes on that, other than the budget, it references have to be changed. Moving the budgets that are presented on a public hearing on November 19th, here that then revised. And there, you know, the capital plans, those will have to just be. So this copy of the budget that I have right here, I can go back and change it, and say that's what the percentage. Yes, it would be how I would do it.
what did you put on the city website? What did you publish?
The city website has the original budget from 10 million, so it doesn't have.
So it doesn't have the acre.
Yes.
Everybody,
Yes, yes, remember.
yes,
Yeah.
no, the mayor can always amend it. Yes, but for transparency purposes, we want that $8,000. We want that budget added to our city website.
Yeah, that's definitely, once I have the final approved council budget tomorrow morning, it'll be put out and updated the first thing.
And maybe we'll make a mention on the floor. Yeah. What does everybody think?
You're taking the 34.4 out for that.
Yes, yes, I think we have to further assess. Does everybody agree?
Thank you.
I mean, I'd like to hear from civil service.
They ask for the assessment, so we'll take a look at it.
Right. Right. Any other questions for Adam? Thanks, Adam.
He's done a great job on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a hard work. Thank
You-
All right, let's go through the agenda. On the minutes, all right, on the budget. Go on. Do we have a second? We don't have a first or a second. Good.
You don't want the budget with 2% under the tax cap. You get an option of either refusing it and make a motion to go over tax cap and change it. Bring out your plan.
Do any amendments?
maybe we're between a rock and a hard place at this point. And I still have concerns about taking up the amount out of the reserve fund.
Reserve fund is 15 million. You get 15 million in pocket.
15 million as of 2023. We don't know what it's gonna shake out through this year.
And more is gonna come out. You got two at once.
Right. But I'm just saying, I had my concerns about that at the time. I still have my concerns. I'm not convinced that's gonna shake out to where we think it's gonna be by the end of the year. But I also think we're in a tough spot that pulling over the tax cap is probably not something we're gonna be able to do with that. I don't, we've heard kind of hastily from all the department heads last week, and I have concerns that their budgets. They might not be able to stay under budget, or they actually need more, and we might have cut too much, so I'm not sure what the answer is on any of this, but.
We said that the year before, and we were so far under budget, they carried over and the rest of it. Valuation.
Yeah, some of it did carry over,
That's a
but
good thing, that's a good thing.
It is a good
It's a
thing.
good spot, and that's good for, we save money, and, last thing I wanna do is save $15,000 in our pocket. We're going to charge our residents, whoever, to make the pay 6%, that's really what I was at. So I had the results discussed.
and my concern is. We're kicking the can down the road, and we're gonna hit them with that next year. And I still think it makes sense to spread that out. But we're kind of stuck in a place where we're back there against the wall. I don't think we had any additional workshops or discussions about it over the past month since it's passed. So I have my concerns. I mean, ultimately, when it comes down to it, we can all vote no against it, and the original budget passes. I've done enough time over the years passing budgets, putting out resolutions for additional cuts, and have been chastised for it. I think some more work needs to be done on it, but I don't think we're at a point where there's any more time to do it.
We've taken out a slush fund there, fund balance, how much have we taken 23, 24, then in 24? What's the total ballpark, 5, 6? Approximately 5, 6, 5. Keep going this way, we don't know what's down the road, I don't know, I'm a gambler, but I don't know, we're capable, someone gets money out of it like that. So if we're at 15, we already took 5 point whatever out. We got under 10 million there. What if it doesn't, then we take another 2, 3 million, I mean, it's such a gap, we don't know what's gonna transpire in the next couple of years. Regardless of
That's why we work on road.
We do have to be careful. To not have too much in there as well,
Yes.
Exactly.
just plain devil's advocate,
Right.
if we have too much in there, we can get hit with other issues.
You all said that, told me that, we're gonna have a loss, we're not gonna have any additional revenue, and then the rest came in and we got extra $9 million.
Speaking of which, there was question about the ARPA funds, like 1.4 million.
1.5.
Now, I was under the impression that was spent.
It wasn't.
Well, we give another 1.5, Adam's gonna talk about it next meeting, not tonight, because we're gonna use it towards a hospital pump, we're thinking about a lot of things. So we're gonna pay something down the road, it's going to be the interest on it.
I understand it, but I was under the impression that that had been spent.
The ARPA money was spent. We used that money towards the
That's
assessment.
already, yeah.
No, Adam's out there.
Why isn't 2? Why did it say something to change? Yeah, they asked for something to change. In resolution 2.
Because that's the tax
Yeah.
rate. That can change based on what the final assessment is.
That's correct.
The assessment could go up or down or based on in-round funds or. What it kind of shakes out.
That's correct.
Yeah, that didn't become a thing.
Katie, when do you do the final roll?
Final rules already published. So any changes would be from Article 7, which are the lawsuits from commercial property. Which we have one larger one outstanding and the other ones are just small.
And I'm talking about the ARPA funds, we just brought up.
And I know you want to address the council next meeting, but,
Yeah, so I was gonna wait until I had more solid numbers
I
next
know.
meeting, so I'd like to throw my comments.
okay,
Second thing.
I had just been under the impression that it was spent. In previous, I mean, you don't
Like I
have
said,
to.
I'll defer my comments till next meeting.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
I'll take it. I'll take it. You respond to it too?
Yes.
I'll take it.
All right. I'm gonna make a motion to go to executive session for personnel of particular people. Do I have a second?
We now, we invite the firefighters, 6:15,
Yes.
we do the executive after.
You can do it. Oh, yeah. All right, I'll do it after. Yeah,
Good to hear that.
is everybody here?
They're all, I talked, so.
Okay. All right. Do I have some? Okay. Chief, would you like to introduce the presidents? for us?
Mr. Goodman is the president of Niagara's. Van Duzen, the president of Union Hook and Ladders.
I'm Elizabeth, I'm here for my brother, he had a medical procedure in Quebec. But I'm the secretary of National Votes.
Okay,
Mr. Rambler from the Delawares.
okay.
We also have
Is there
Mr.
some
Lucero
shares?
from the Delawares and Mr. Smyers over here from the Niagara's.
Okay. So why don't we go by, volunteer company first, so, Mr. Goodman, I know you don't have to present us with any financial
Okay,
paperwork until March,
right.
but I know that there may have been some questions, so we felt it best
Okay.
for you to come
Well, I
forward.
kind of was sort of semi-appointed spokesman last night,
Oh,
but any of these guys can step in anytime they want. Feel free. We were here March 16th at 6 PM for a meeting. And at that time, we instructed each councilman to meet with each company. To my knowledge, only one council person met with a company. Okay, so a lot of these questions could have been answered at those meetings. Now, our contract. The contract that the four of us signed does not say that we have to give you accountability. Page 3 of our agreement is a contract, is a resolution that was put forth to the council. It states it in there, but our signed contract does not state that we have to give you accountability. We've done it in the past as a courtesy. The chief asked us last year, we did it, we handed it in March. Our next due date is March of 25. For the next time. Our expenditures don't change a whole lot. If you, I don't know if you have any records of the past years, but they basically been within $1,000 every year for what we spent. And Mr. Spires, when he was on the council, he can tell you that at the time they were gonna put an agreement in that the volunteers would get a yearly raise. Depending upon, like, say, contracts with the city workers, whatever, if they got 2%, we get 2%, whatever it was. But that never bear fruit. Now, we've met with Chief McNulty. And we brought that up to him, and this year he agreed to put that in. And so I don't think we're unreasonable. I know we were having trouble getting manpower. I've been in contact with every volunteer company that I know of. Even as far out the other side of Medina, they can't get people. It's very hard. We're doing the best we can. But we get people and they quit. Why they quit, I don't know. Questions? Anybody?
I have more of a comment than anything. It went from 7,500 this year to 7,800, so that's a 4% increase.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not gonna ask what you said about a council person that did speak, with the president direct, but I can at least say for myself, I have spoken to the volunteer fire department. I have been around, and I was one of the first people to ask the question when we all sat here in March about active firefighters showing up. I've now since been informed that we also have rehab and we have fire police. And
Chaplain's Corps.
chaplain's corps, and there's this combination department is more than someone putting on a helmet and holding a hose. It's a whole bill. And I want to let you guys know that I'm in favor of that 7,800, not touching it in the budget, leaving it in. I think our conversation is better had in March where we fight over accountability than it is in November asking for the money. I think the money's there. You guys have a need. You guys are providing a great service with the whole combination thing. And I feel personally that this conversation is better suited for March than it is today. And I thank you guys for coming.
My question is, once we write a check, we have no control ability. To talk to Dick about this, whatever, a month ago. I was the one that met with Nationals. Okay, when we write the check, we have, it's what would that come out to, the extra money, 77,
It's 7,800 now, went up 4%, went from 7,500 to 7,800.
$300.
$30-some thousand. We write a check, we got no accountability to it. Okay, not saying you guys are any crookedness at all, but all I ask when I send my emails out, just give me some figures that I can say, I can sit there and say, yes, you're doing good. As we go back to March, we said, if you need more, right? Come to us, we will give you more. And that's all I'm asking. So what, I'm just asking, where our taxpayers' money go? Once we write the check, Dick, we got no control, right? So I say,
Where are you gonna get the money from?
we can
You're
hold the
marking,
money.
you're
We can
marking
hold
the
that
money now.
Pardon?
You're marking the money now for next year's budget.
Maybe we won't, maybe it'll be deleted, you know, I mean, we don't have to send it. We don't have, my understanding, we don't have to send it until it's, you know, I just wanna, you know, it was very simple, and I've talked to the chief at numerous times, it's been great communications, I appreciate you guys coming. But all it was a simple spreadsheet, what have we spent this year? Then I can take what last year, say, okay, they need this year. There's no problem, not calling you guys thieves. But we need more volunteers, and it's a very difficult thing, it's a very difficult thing to get police, fire it all over. You've had one recruitment drive this year, you think you'd be more forceful to get those young kids involved. I don't know how you get them there, but just to turn around and say, I'm gonna give you all $7,700. Because you're good guys, you're all good guys, don't get me wrong, some of these people are friends, we're friends, Tommy, that I know personally. But you just can't throw money out the door just because we, you know, just because you, okay, let me give you this. Just because you did, doesn't mean you do. Presenting, I know it's the girls with the chaplains and the fire police are probably the most active. Because of accident scenes, fires, whatever else. And I understand that, there is a need. Oh, just saying, throw it out there. I got nothing to hide. You wanna see my finances? I'll show you. I got nothing to
Well,
hide.
we haven't hidden, we've given them every year.
All I asked was to-
We do our books from January to January.
Okay. if you
So the
do-
same way that you're asking where we spent the money we get from the city,
Right,
you get money from the city, right, for being councilman?
Yeah.
So should you turn in the city each month, this is where I spent the
will.
money you gave me?
I will.
Well, you should then, if you're asking us to, you should do the same.
No problem. I'm at 4.5 cents an hour right now with all the phone calls.
We're
all
at
the things we do.
zero, we're volunteers, I got.
That's
zero.
what you are. You're volunteers. You
Yeah.
have more than,
I'm not being.
I'll help
paid
you
to
run
be
an
here.
election.
I
I'll
don't
help
get
you
paid
run
to
an
be here.
election. Huh?
I'm not getting anything for being here tonight.
When you say you're a volunteer? What's
Yeah.
it say? Volunteer,
Right.
okay? I'm a volunteer at VBA, the American Legion, the
Yeah.
Eldridge Club, the Erie County Police Association, Captain Lieutenants, Erie County. I'm a volunteer all over. I'm not
Yeah,
getting paid
this
for
too,
them.
yeah, we don't only volunteer.
I know, but
We
I'm
can
just
say that
saying,
too.
I understand.
But if we need to do it, then I assume you should do it too.
If
fair,
we
right?
solve a
Wouldn't that be
resolution,
fair?
then I play my expenses too when I come here, whatever now, no.
Yeah.
To throw a party for whatever thousands, to have whatever. That's where I'm at, and I'm even at that with the police department. Why are we throwing $4,000 at a awards banquet for what?
Retention.
Pardon?
Retention.
If I could comment on that, we
Sure.
do not use the city money for any of our banquets, any of our trips, or any of our parties. That is money comes directly from our fundraising, at least for National Homes. We don't use any of the city's funds for any of those things. That's why we have the turkey raffle and the raffle off the cooler.
I understand that,
That's where that money is coming.
I understand this.
And
I
also,
do
all the surrounding volunteer companies which you get mutual aid from, they have incentives. They have college tuition assistance, they have pension benefits.
Yeah, property taxes, nothing like that happens in the city of Tonawanda, so for retention, it's all on us, the city gives us nothing to help with retention, I mean, if we offer that. Like you said, the volunteers, maybe they'll stay longer, maybe they'll get more. But by the $7,500 we get from the city, we gotta run the hall and do all retention and all recruitment. It's expensive doing recruitment and retention, a lot of money. We spend our money every year, we never have a surplus, the money we get, we spend more than we get from the city each year just to keep afloat.
Years ago, talking about, what he mentioned too about, insurance and that, Tom, you were on the committee, we had, we spent 2 years
way.
to get retirement insurance. With several different people, Mayor Pelosi was in on it at the time. And, we spent 2 years, had it all figured out, had down financing and everything. And, it was shot down by the council. That was back then, back to Alice, but that was back to Alice. Yeah. Well, was that, well, Pelosi was in on it, I think he was an alderman, he was on the committee with us. Yeah, well,
I just, the part I don't understand that it's a simple spreadsheet or whatever. I asked for like March and September. Very simple. We can be here tonight. There's more expenses coming from now. I understand that. I've seen it. I pulled out the report from last year. I see that. All of us is just accountability. I can sit there, look at the first board, let me finish. Look at the first board people. Why are we giving them the money? I can say, this is why. I can't explain a lot I don't see.
Just pull out last year's report we gave you and say, this is why.
The one on the napkin? That report?
No, I don't know who sent it on napkin, but no, we had a spreadsheet, I had to account go over it, so.
What would it
It costs us,
take, realistically, what would it take? from
why?
March to
It takes time.
I ask a question as a councilman that sees where the taxpayers' dollars go. Very simple. I guess you don't want my.
I think we went over this when I said, if you account for your expenditures,
I
we'll
don't
account
have
for
to.
ours.
I don't have to.
We don't either, it's not in our
I don't
contract.
right now, it's not in our contract.
It's not in our contract.
We didn't sign it. It's not in the contract we signed.
So I won't know that they don't get any money. I said, but, you know, I mean, until, then we fight more.
We
I'm
haven't
not
argued
fighting with
about
you.
giving it to you once a year.
What did you tell me at the end of September? My treasurer, what you said on the
I,
phone,
that's
my
right. He
treasurer
was
is
out
on
of
for
town
me.
at the time.
Okay,
But
and I will
since
say,
we've met, you know, it's kind
you
of.
said you were gonna send a report.
We've asked for, it's, you know,
You
it's
did-
in the
you said-
resolution, it's in the resolution,
said-
we do it in March.
You said you're gonna send to me, Jim, I'll send it.
I said that, yes, I'm not gonna deny it,
Well,
but we
why
had
not?
second thoughts, we had meetings and
I have second thoughts.
after reading our contract. That we all signed, all 4 companies, it is not in that signed contract
How long's the contract for?
till next March.
Next March, then we can go and reevaluate the whole thing and then shut it all down. Possibility.
Well, if you wanna lose fire, police and everything else that you have, I guess that's what you'll have to do.
I guess, is that a threat or no?
That's not
a
threat.
I thought it was.
You'll get publicity,
You're gonna get a lot of
I
bad
don't
publicity.
care.
all the way
I
to
don't care. I'm
Albany.
74 years old. You know.
Well, you're representing the city of Tonawanda though, not
Sure,
yourself.
that's what I'm doing. I'm representing the city of Tonawanda.
So you're not
taxpayers.
concerned about giving the city of Tonawanda bad publicity on your behalf.
You're talking to the wrong maroon guy. You are talking to the wrong maroon guy.
I'm
No,
just,
you're not. You
I'm
don't
just
know. me.
asking questions.
You don't know.
So is that a threat?
No,
That sound like a threat to me.
I don't know.
I guess you don't know me as a threat. I'm sorry about threatening you because I don't understand how it's a threat.
I don't know.
How about from now on, you guys have a request, put it in writing, send it to us, each company, and then we'll go talk to our lawyer first before we do
It
anything.
was sent to the chief and he sent it to you guys.
Well,
So talk to your lawyer. Not saying deny you money. As I said, we said in March, we would give more if it was needed.
I don't have any questions or comments.
I think it's easier to increase if you say. You know, these are our expenses like everybody else, it's like gas.
we don't have a
We- we
problem,
do
we don't
that.
have a problem giving a
We thought March
report
was-
at the end of
yeah.
the year.
A yearly.
We thought we were doing right by
We get the money
wait
on
till
a
March.
yearly basis, we'll give you an accountability on a yearly basis.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I think maybe we bring you back in February or right before March and we sit down and. When
We
is
have
the
to
deadline?
have it by March 1st, we have to have the,
Well, Dick, I mean, we don't even know insurance. In New York State, we just get, everybody's getting screwed with insurance. Does your insurance go up a ton? Like my car and health went up 50% this past year. Does it do that? You guys need it? we'll get it to you.
We don't get our insurance until around, I think, March.
March,
Well, that's what I'm saying,
March.
if they came in more, then I don't have any problem with that at all.
But I'm sure it's gonna go up.
I guarantee it's gonna
It
go.
makes it easier for us to justify saying, hey,
I
you know, the
understand.
3% to 4%, if it's a
Yeah.
5%.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you know, we took in 30 new members. Right?
That'd be nice.
That'd be great, right?
I'd be happy if we could get 10.
If you can get 5, right? You know, but it just makes it easier for us to justify saying, all right,
Yeah.
this is why the expense was.
We're not saying we won't do it,
No, I
but
understand.
you know,
I'm just
if we're
saying.
going from March to March, we'll give you the
And
statement in March.
see, that's the thing, your budget's March to March, ours is.
Well, that's-
October to November.
But
So-
that's when we've always gotten the check from the
Right.
city.
Sure.
It's always been that way. I've been in the company 56 years.
And if you need October.
58 years for you.
I
or
was just
57.
gonna
Yeah.
ask that, if we could talk to the treasurer and see, can we bring that on, can we bring their stipend check on board with, we can? Oh,
Now, we're giving, here's another thing.
Semantics.
We're giving you guys, we're kind of breaking down what we figure we're spending. I would like to see you give us some kind of a spreadsheet or something that we could fill out. And so that we'd all be on the same page rather than,
idea.
rather than having
I mean, in
myself
every company's
take
using
all
the
my
same-
receipts
identical.
and try to group it into something
I
and
think a template's a great idea.
you want categories, you want us to
Right.
ask you what categories you
Something like
spend
that.
money in. That's an easy.
Nashville gave me one, okay, they had a pretty good spreadsheet, I don't know.
That's what I used last year, the one
Right,
Gary used.
from National, yeah, it was pretty good, I'm serious.
Delaware's made that.
Okay,
Oh, Delaware's?
okay, all right,
Yeah, I made it.
right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is
Just
that-
make it the same.
but it should be between all four companies. We should have the same.
Exactly.
Can you share your
Standardized
spreadsheet with the companies?
I will ask the president. I don't see it should be a problem. As the spreadsheet's it's very precise. It's clear. It's not line by line. It's not as generic as the one that the chief gave. It's very specific. Yes, we can do that.
I think that'd be, okay, and then we'll reach out and we'll get together as close to March 1st is.
And if you need to change October, we can.
Yeah,
I would like to see it changed to October.
We just have to do a resolution.
Yeah.
And
Very
then,
easy.
and then, right, so then we release your funds in March, like we're talking about. And then next year in October, when we put it back in the budget, then we would get released in November and start the new calendar year. So in theory, next year you would get two. But then going to the
Yeah.
26th, it would be every November, so you have a
Yeah.
longer gap.
Is all your insurance is in the same time frame?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all the same insurance company and everything else.
Well, we all have the same company. We all get the bill at the same time. Same carrier, yeah.
Yeah, we have to provide, this is a copy of our insurance binder here, we have to provide that to get our check with the city.
In order to get the check, we have to have that binder.
Insurance.
It's gonna go up more than that 4%. I
Is
guarantee.
it the same price for all four companies? Is it the same price for all
Yes,
four
divided
companies?
by four.
Oh, so it's one,
It's one policy
policy divided by four.
four
And
companies.
if you see March 1st, what if we had to do this like the second meeting in February, so we'd be able to release before you. hit March.
Yeah, we don't, like I said, we don't get our insurance bill. I think it's due April 1st. We really don't get it until March.
We could get the check on the same date. We'll just, our
Yeah.
reporting will be from October.
right,
And you give the
same thing,
check.
so the
Just
budget,
past year,
if the
we
budget,
paid our
when, if and
insurance
when the budget passes.
Before,
The following
got our
meeting, you guys
check.
would submit your paperwork and get a check.
Yeah.
And then we'll be on a
It's
fiscal.
gonna be higher.
If we give you our paperwork in October,
Your
then you
state
have it,
looking into
Yeah.
us.
Hang on,
And
we
then-
had two conversations.
and then we still get a check at the same time, whatever works out as normal. I mean, we could still get a check in March or April.
Well, you're saying just change the accountability pattern
Yeah,
period to
yeah.
October, right?
That's,
Do them the same.
That's gonna be easier.
That's.
Whatever's best for you guys.
Yeah, after April, we know for sure what our insurance is, because like I say. The company, I would say, is kind of a little bit lax. They kind of send us a bill like 10 days before it's due, So it's a little rough to give you what you need.
All right, thank you guys for coming in.
Appreciate it.
All right.
I
Appreciate it. If you got a
it.
question, and she's got my number, I'm sorry, just
All
call
right.
me, just call me.
I got your number.
Yeah, I know you
I'm
do,
good.
but I'm serious, thank you for coming, appreciate it.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to go into executive session for personnel of particular people. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Allen, all those in favor?
Do you have another copy of the numbers?
This Adam, he printed those up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Insurance goes up. Probably will.
I saw her coming. 10 minutes early. She was
flying out there.
Now you want to pay racing.
Yes. I'm gonna get a present.
I can, we caught the guy, the semi that's going down the street, talked to him, gave him a summons. And he said, I don't believe the guy will do it again. Okay. And I'm just gonna throw you this traffic safety. By the CCDC 138 Delaware. Lady come in twice with the last year and said she wants a crosswalk across. I don't know how you can put a crosswalk across there.
I can, it's kind of interesting, because they say it's not legal or whatever, you can't do it. There, it's been done in North Carolina. If you go where the old Platters chocolate is, crossing the men's music, I know, they have put a crosswalk in the middle of the street. And what they did was kind of like what's being proposed for Cranbrook with you know, it's like, it's flashing lights, it's signs on both sides and everything like that. It can be done. There's a couple of instances in North Carolina where they can put a crossover.
Well, that's what they said about, because there's so many people crossing, but we have these, there's certain people get out of their car, they walk right across.
There's no difference between Erie County and I was thinking, I think it would be.
That would be a state, that would be-
I've almost been hit like 10 times walking across from the launching out of the engine for events or drinks and stuff.
That was
There's
me.
crosswalk in there, there's a stop sign, but
It was me.
people don't stop.
There's another one. Regards to the Twin City Memorial Highway.
The legality of that?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, just, I don't know.
And ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, bottom line, it's insane, because there's a lot of people that, you know, you give it to a private business, but they didn't NT is that, you know, whatever. Complain about Twin City Highway, everybody running red light. Came from, Hardwood's, assistant or whatever, but I tried to tell her, look, 81, 82, I had my first fatal tragedy, accident there, a guy died. But nobody, people run red lights, they run stop signs, you can't provide the ignorance, you know, show them a little bit. No, I mean, that's the problem, and that, I understand it, but. The traffic, I think you brought it up about the zebra striping down here on Main at Niagara. Yeah, the way it's so confusing for people, if you're going eastbound on Niagara. And you come to Main Street, you've got this striped area, then you got a turn right lane, turn left lane. And people go to the right, you know, where it's not, you're not supposed to go, they don't follow rules and so they go there and the next thing you know, you're gonna cut somebody's gonna cut off. And so it's just a thought, process to them. Handrails, the city hall, I don't want to throw it at you again, 84-year-old woman from Long's, the handrails come up from the parking lot.
Yeah, I talked to David on it. I also talked to the maintenance people on it too. They took that out because it was broke. It was broke, it ripped right off and to replace it as the first case, we had to
I
replace it.
just call her back because she just keeps calling me. That's it. You had something, I got one more.
Yeah, just back to the traffic and safety, I mentioned a couple meetings ago, obviously, Woodson, the traffic coming in Fletcher.
Right.
I haven't seen it on the notes, is that anything?
No, they discussed it and said they don't see a problem. I mean, that's, you know, so it's just
Fair enough.
thing. Just for you, young lady, I got a couple of veterans come to me and said that you show up at the last church giveaway for a photo, but you're never at veterans and memorial. I feel very close to that because my brother was killed in World War II. And they just said, you know, please, Madam President, show.
Yeah, I would love to.
You know, they said they've never seen. So just like
I've been to them. I mean, unfortunately, they're during my work schedule,
Memorial, everybody's off usually Memorial.
not in healthcare,
Or something.
not in healthcare.
Yeah, just say it that.
No, I would love to.
Okay, I'm done, I think I'm done. Yeah, Great enough.
Yeah, a few things. Last meeting here, we were talking to the mayor, we were talking about Bill Conrad. You're getting funding from Bill Conrad. You said you were meeting with him on Friday, November 8th to ask for funding for different projects.
That is correct.
How did that work out?
We're talking fantastic. We're gonna get, they're actually gonna pay for the rest of the fire departments, radios to go from the analog to the digital, $250,000. $4,000 to $5,000 a piece. It's a heck of a lot better than piecemeal small pieces of equipment, because it's something we need. It's here to communicate with the town. We here to communicate with North Tonawanda. To me, that's a priority. So that's what we chose right away. There's a couple other things I talked to Sean about, and I'll have it more, have it broken down better once I get estimates from our engineering department, such as the possibility of the bathroom. One bathroom furthest down, you may not be able to use, it's that bad, you can see right through the concrete, it may have to be demolished. So I gotta get a price list of cost, it's $190,000, I'll do one first, for the rest of the money. Putting a pickleball court up at Vets Park, it's kind of obsolete because, hey, a quarter of a mile away, the high school is getting two of them up at the tennis court right there. So I don't wanna build that up there and have a conflict with it, so, that's that, and then, there's more money that's gonna be available. I'm gonna put a flagpole at Closing Pavilion. There is not one. Every event that's at Pavilion, there's no flag there. So we're gonna put that flagpole there. There's a lot of other things we're gonna do too, for the, fire department and for the, Parks and Rec. So I talked to Sean a little bit about, just get some input from him. So it was a great meeting for both of them Friday. One was 11, one was 1:30. All he asked was, if you guys have any ideas, run it by me, so we're not tearing a possible money situation three different directions. I said, this is about, Chris understands that, Chris came to me and talked to me about it, so he was comfortable with it, I was comfortable with it, I told him I would bring it to your attention today, which I had in mind. But I just can't say everything yet, because we're still working on particulars, and once they do that, I'm from the old school, show me the money, then once it comes in, we can count on it. I told him,
You say you think it's a promissory note?
yeah, once I get the promise, because in the past it was always, oh, they promised it, let's do it, and we would spend it, it didn't come through. And if we had $100,000 with another person in the past where it didn't, and August, we know, so we're not going to have it yet. It was gonna be great meeting.
Good. Good to hear that. Then, one more for you is the shed or bathroom, whatever you would call that, at Ives Pond, about bulldozing that down so they can put their shed
It's
on
still
that.
this fall, there's 3 projects left this fall, clean it up. The bank between the Delaware Street Bridge all the way back to the Rock Bridge. It's a mess. I wanna get that cleaned up. There's no one. They'll do it this fall. Number 2, Mother Nature's allowing us to do it. Their bathrooms can be doubled. Wednesday this week. It'll be doubled. The 3rd project is once a year, we cut down. We need, like, the leaves or small trees that grow along Niagara Street from around Posey Pavilion all the way down Niagara Street. The people complain they live there, they can't see the water. I understand that, but I can't lose the slope because the roots take and it needs stability. It needs stability. So we cut it down once a year. And I tell them, just let us do it each fall. When the leaves are down, it's much easier to get in there with personnel and cut it from a safety standpoint of view. And that's going to be done this fall too. So in your ward, David, that's when Niagara Street be done. Next couple of weeks, you've always done that.
Yeah.
So always, but I have some people calling and complaining about that now. And the bathroom, the old bathroom, Chris, we talked about it again today. So I promise you it'll be done. Those are 2 big ones. Those are good. Plus, he's also gonna hit those trees along the between the baseball diamond and the first soccer field. Some of those trees are bad, and I'm concerned about liability, branches falling on people walking in there or on their cars, we have to pay for it, so we're gonna clean those dead trees out of there, it's gonna increase the parking along that side too. So I'm in favor of that, he's gonna do that yourself.
Sounds good. Tonawanda Soccer is looking good. Nice run.
Niagara Street, when they talked, we couldn't do it years ago, trim that down, there was a bird there or something, or. And Ringler always bitched about that, and the old chief, always on that, but there was a bird, we couldn't do certain things because he was a bird nest. And then it was foxes. And then take it down, who's gonna spank us?
Continuing for just around the room, I've spoken with the family of Terrence Wyatt. There's no parents in it. spoken with them, reached out. The only thing, I told them anything they need from the city government, we're here for them. What they actually asked me for was helping them find a place to live. They went out of that house, they want to get off Benton. I put it out on Facebook, and I'm not a Facebook person. I had 2 realtors within an hour. Somebody from the Moscato Group, one of the realtors there, actually, got a hold of them direct, and is trying to find them a house, over in the 4th Ward, near, Riverview area. So anything we can do for them, that was a tragedy, that is.
Well, it's funny you said that, because back in Wisconsin, we have our event, the music event, which is packed at the Elks at 7, she's gonna come and I got 4 or 5 major businesses there that should be checks down. And she's gonna get them that night, we're gonna do, pass around the room, for a basket full of money, we're gonna throw all money in there, and then also, we allowed her to be the first in line, you get 3 gifts per child, she got 6 gifts, she's talking 18 toys, brand new ones she'll be able to get. Before everybody else comes in, we're gonna present her for a $500 check also, so. Our meeting's tomorrow or Thursday night, but we're gonna do that all day, because it's a big gathering. So we can contact her.
Oh, good, yeah, I went down there, down to the house, I talked with the kids, Right.
Did you know that the first 2 kids were Kelly?
Well, so that was actually one of the other things, I was gonna bring it up, but to their business, but when I asked her, I said, anything you do, the first thing she said to me was, can you call Kelly Pelosi?
Yes.
And I go, she was telling me about the 2 kids, and then, I said, I knew Todd and Christine and Ron, and I didn't know Kelly, but I knew Todd, so I called Kelly, I spoke with Kelly Pelosi. I helped her, she did not know about the crime victims fund, services that are available, she doesn't know if she's eligible for personally, but the kids should be eligible because it's their father. Outside of my wheelhouse, but I definitely got her in contact with those people. The Wyatt family is actually talking to the DA's office, is helping them with the crime victims fund because of.
And there's a GoFundMe page up now too also.
Yeah, and Crime Victims Association is different than outside of GoFundMe and that stuff, so we're helping them with that. Just in case anybody, you guys hear anything, right, so you got, we're here for them, there's some nice tragedy. The passing of Linda Foles. We all know Linda Foles passed and her, so one of the things I looked at was I actually reached out to Jim, and we were spitballing about renaming a park after her, because her legacy with Parks and Rec. And we looked at Eastern Park, and I didn't fill you in, but I actually talked to Skip. And Eastern Park is actually named after Eastern Lumber Company from 1888. They did change their name in 1907. So
You were there.
you used to work at the lumber company?
1888.
1888, absolutely. One horse or 2 brought you to work.
Never mind.
So.
I'm not supposed to talk.
Oh. So I knew this, I had this conversation with the Foles family, I said, it would sound great, Eastern Park was just, didn't have a name, I have to reach out to the Historical Society, Skip did a great job getting back to me very soon with a lot of information, and that doesn't seem like a feasible option. But you know what we looked at was Morgan Park. Morgan Park, and I even sent an email to Skip, it's on paper, it's named 279 Morgan, it doesn't even have a name. It doesn't even have a name. So one of the playground, it's a park and a playground, it has a basketball hoop, it has the playground. According to all my research, it's just 279 Morgan. That's all it is. It doesn't even have a name. We don't even have a name here in the city for it. It's not even like Morgan Street Playground Park or nothing. It's just 279 Morgan. So I was gonna look at getting some things together and naming that park after Linda Foles. I believe that's 3rd Ward, correct? Yeah.
How about these Niagara softball where the name the field after?
With
She was very involved.
So I got Larry O'Connor's poll after him. For Larry O'Connor.
Right, and
Stadiums are and parks are. You know what? That's that would be that.
Morgan Street Park. So when you look at different items like hypothetically like Ives Pond, like naming a soccer field, it would actually be like Linda Foles Soccer Field at Ives Park.
Yeah,
It's a lot of moving pieces. So we were looking just to do a park. Great, we got Skip, a great historian to tell us about Eastern Park. I learned something. I'm happy about that. So Morgan Street's pretty much where I'm looking at to do 3rd Ward stuff. Putting it together, I've talked to, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I talked to Chris Foles, who's Parks, and I've also talked to Chris Foles, the civilian who happened to be his mom. And they're gonna pick up what, there should be no cost to the city. If there's a sign that has to be made, they're gonna do the woodwork on their own, using their own funds. The only thing the Parks Department would do is install it, which is a couple 4x4 posts and some concrete, which they already have the equipment and everything for, so there's 0 cost to the city. Looking at the naming rights, it should be zero cost to the city, simple resolution like we did or you guys did in 2022 with resolution 98 for the Pelosi Pavilion. Not a lot of moving pieces there. It's just a matter of identifying a place and then having a discussion and then putting the pieces together. Yeah, for around, and I'll touch on Canal Fest. I'm gonna use it for the formal, but it's being recorded as here. Our door is open. I know I've said to the council president and you guys too, that TFC is coming to address us next council meeting, December 3rd. They want to have an opportunity to address the council. So anybody can come and address us if they reach out and ask us, hey, can I address the council? And they can, and TFC is gonna do that. If Canal Fest or somebody wants to come to us and address us, our door is open. I'd love to hear it. We need to have that conversation. Can we come to you, or when can we get together? We move things around. There's no need. We meet here at 6 o'clock, first and third Tuesdays. Anybody can come here and ask for permission to address the council. So if they want to address us, our door is open. I'd love to hear it. I just hope it's not in March when they're saying, here's the resolution to give us 8
I
days.
gave him 2 options, like when I met with him and Debbie Darling, I said, look, you disrespected the council, you made dates, you put it on, I said, so bottom line, take the whole thing, go to North Tonawanda, and don't do it. And he said, or we open it up at the bridge, everything goes in North Tonawanda, we open up on Wednesday, bring all of our non-for-profits in, we start Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you still have the car show, you still do the crash show, you still, and we would even be willing to maybe discuss doing the parade on Tuesday and shut it down, open it back up again, but that is a 4-day event, and he said absolutely not, but then I got back, a lady called me, he said, you know what? Might not be a bad idea, so they're thinking about, they still need to have conversations about, they need to come in and see us. They do, but that's, just so you know, that's what I throw in.
So one of the things, I mean, and we just want to spitball ideas in the future, if they say 100% of North Tonawanda side, we're getting 0, so they're gonna get 0 funding. Do you remember when the American Legion they had a pig roast, they rented the street, they shut down the street, they held a pig roast? There's nothing stopping the non-for-profits from doing that on Canal Fest weekend.
If they did that, I would open up Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Correct,
Sunday,
we would give out,
Something on our side.
our side would give out permits to our not-for-profits for those days, and they can run their own food festival in conjunction, while Canal Fest is doing their own thing.
We can set
We
it up
wouldn't need,
1 week.
we wouldn't need that much competition.
And then they wouldn't have to pay that money to.
Exactly.
Right, and the corporation doesn't have to pay us that 35,000, because we're not gonna be hiring police overtime on the midnight shift or 11 o'clock at night, because they're gonna open up in the morning, they're gonna have their meals, their tents, their vendors, and they're gonna close down at night.
Yeah, the big thing with
And why
Canal
don't-
Fest, we can't afford, we're a small city at 15,000, we don't have what they, 3 times the size, but we don't have that type of police department, and it's taxing on our police department, and we're paying $33,000 for overtime just for that week for police. And we only get paid $30,000.
You said we took a loss last year, you said in 2020,
Yeah, this is
2024, this year, we took a loss. So that, the fact that they're not coming to the table and they've already announced 8 days.
It's also extremely suspicious to me that their council is pushing this time.
Yes.
Why is their council? I'm telling you that money is going into people's pockets from the Canal Fest Corporation. And that is why they want it so bad. This city needs to get out of the business of Canal Fest.
52,000 to Carousel Society, Sweeney Hills 36,000. I'm just reading what this is 2023.
That's what they made?
That's what they come across. I don't know if that's
I'm just saying,
not.
be careful
So
about,
3 or 4%.
if we can't prove it, I know what you're saying, Dave, but I just wanna be careful, because I don't wanna throw something out there that we can't support right now. They have their meet with us, we can have anything we want in the back of our mind, prove it, show you what you're doing, and if they can't do it, then we'll be right back.
Well, as the mayor's appointed liaison, do you want to reach out to Pete Chenier and invite him to a council meeting?
I can, you guys already have a relationship with them, with your job.
Well, I only did it as mayor, just trying to get something rolling, because I don't want to come there, I mean, I said March, and then we look like the idiots.
It's such a waste of time. Why can't we just tell you, Mayor, that idea you came up with is awesome, that's what we go.
I think they still want to come to the council.
So what? This is what the council is telling them, this is what we're not.
So do you want to invite Pete Chenier to a?
Why?
I mean,
Why?
Hey, Skip, can we go back to the old home days?
Sure.
Here we go. That's how this all started. It was old days.
I think.
because the mayor negotiated
We just
a
tell-
4-day
This is what we're.
event.
we're gonna bring in Pete Chenier and Rick Mayer, and we're gonna sit here and we say 4 days, they're gonna say no, 8 days, it's gonna go 8 days. Tell them, no, it's 4 days, this is what we're doing. There's no need to meet. with them.
I think you've already told him, and his response was, he wants to come to the
Can I
council.
make a motion?
I come to the council and tell us. That's what I mean, somebody needs to extend the invitation.
Yeah.
But we need to put it to rest now. We do.
Yes, we need to do this before March.
Well,
It's come March.
especially because we're approaching the 200th anniversary of the Erie Canal.
And he plays the game that if it goes on my side, you're not for profits are welcome, then we'll bear it, because I have all the not for profits, we go opposite same days as him, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we just do that.
I agree with just doing it, and then telling them we don't want their money, we don't want their contract, and
It's better for our not for profits.
correct. They don't, because they don't have to pay into the
And I
corporation.
gave him an option, and I wanted to at least say yea or nay.
Okay, so you'll extend an invitation?
I mean, there's no reason to meet with the council, it's my point of view.
But the council votes, it's council.
No, their council, they also
Their
want
council.
to get a meeting with us.
The only reason they suggested that was because they came to our council meeting and shared with you that they would meet with us, that there would be a joint meeting.
I missed it. You missed the meeting? I missed the meeting. It's
No,
supposed to be done in
so-
August, it was supposed to be August, September, we're supposed to have that
They're
meeting.
gonna come in here and say, because I've already had the discussion, they're gonna come in here and tell the mayor how he's not doing this with the police department, how he's not doing that. He's gonna throw it all back on us, and it's not us.
Then we ended that night.
I don't even think we entertain them anymore. We've entertained them for years.
Where's it gotten?
Tell them to take it,
That's why they suggested the joint meeting.
take it.
Yeah, they want, they're gonna get the rides, they're gonna get the carny food.
For 49, except for 1 year.
39
rides,
years.
all the rides every year. They've never had it, they had partial rides last year, not all of it.
Right, and look what happened last year. They
60-person people fighting for rides.
they calling for mutual aid from all over the county.
All over the country.
That we got blamed for. I will tell you in a personal conversation, it was Tonawonda's fault that fight occurred.
Why? I got it on drone watching it.
I'm telling you, that's what I was told. But that fight was Tonawonda's fault.
And the incidents in the past, the 19 and shooting, whatever was outside the footprint of Canal Fence over there. Outside of it,
Let me take it.
50 feet.
We could bring ours back to an old home day style thing. There's nonprofits,
Let's give-
our local
let's,
businesses.
Yeah.
Let them park.
We've already had these skipped.
I agree.
Right, because the American Legion, hypothetically, just throwing their name out there, they could easily pull a permit for the street like they did for their pig roast. Shut that place down for 4 days, just between certain hours.
Right.
And then, and they pop their tents up in the morning, they take them down at night, we don't have to have overnight police presence, we don't have to pay that overtime. We're not gonna have to worry about the fights on our sites, we're not gonna have the rides and the games and the carny food, we're only gonna have not-for-profits.
The not-for-profits around Canal Street, they won't be taking it all up and down, because no traffic. They put their, tents up, they stay.
However, we come up with our footprint, or, you know, because the Legion does their pull taps, that's a staple of Canal Fest and selling pull taps. You know, and that's still all gonna be okay, because people are still gonna come across that bridge to us.
Just to be fair, this is what we are planning. This is what we are doing, a 4-day event, you're on and you're off, just understand what you're going through. There you go.
No, I'm done.
Just here to talk about some other repairs and stuff, the back entrance, I think there was reports of some issues getting up and downstairs, there's crumbling, that, being problematic, is that on the list for repairs, is that in the budget, that,
From the back there?
yeah.
Oh, this already been addressed. You know what, it was an important decision that we need to, was, Mario already contacted, I contacted, we can't be doing the election period on Friday, it's just not. But the older people, I found out they were going down the stairs, I was out of town, I said, shut it down, we shut the stairs down, we put a guard up front. It's just not, there's too much liability, I mean, I heard it from Sharon that, ma'am, are you okay going down those stairs when they came? Oh, I get dizzy sometimes, but I'm fine. No, absolutely not.
There's not even a handicap, access.
There's a ramp.
No,
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, she was going from upstairs to downstairs, with no way of stopping her, that's what we blocked it off.
Right.
But as I'm saying, this is not a place for polling, like, it's just not set up.
But also, we don't have another, I mean.
We do have.
Oh, we had the polling place on the first floor, we did the construction, we had the polling place up here.
Right, but with the early voting.
Right.
Caused too much.
Early voting. Polar pool would be a perfect spot.
Older.
Oh, for the early, you're talking about for the early voting?
Early voting, yeah.
Yeah. So we have to find one location for our early voting.
Yep, we got one.
Oh, that's, you got the whole city, but take anyway.
I think there's the idea of wanting to be someplace permanent, where this is here, if any changes are construction to.
Yeah.
Cool, it's hard enough to get people out as it is, you keep changing.
But you know, we'll give it to the Erie County, and then take a look at this location, if that makes.
Yes, why don't you get a library?
But also-
Senior center, no, let them make it.
I mean, if that's your handicap access. Fix the handicap access. That is what. Yeah. that's good. More repair stuff, and I don't know if it's a Jason question or Sharon the mayor. Streetlights in Fletcher, they well, one that was hit by the car in the
Yeah,
accident.
sure.
still down. And it's like they're getting ready to dig up the other ones for those two lights at the end. Jason.
Those were conduit. When a plumber did a bubbler.
Yeah,
For
that's
private
Jason
residents,
explained that to me.
they chopped through, so mayor has signed off on all the work orders for outside of routine maintenance. So it's just a matter of when they get the supplies in
Right.
and come out to work hard. I will certainly follow up on them tomorrow. Follow up.
And I understand, Jason explained it a little bit, he was looking into different options and possibly coming off the poles with grid. But it's definitely going up the original path that it's going, it looks like they're digging out that area.
Okay.
It looks like that's all what's marked up at that end of the street. But my second question is, the plumber did this, and drove through these lines, do we have any recourse? Like, did they get permits to do?
I don't know, that's what Jason was looking to look into with, the building.
Or is that
right?
building inspector? Yeah,
Any kind of permits followed, filed, or was this an illegal job that someone did?
right, and if it's in an owned house, we have
Yeah.
recourse, and that's
Right.
some pretty extensive damage to the
It
lights
is.
there.
I
They've been
agree,
out-
and
I
it
mean,
carries
they've been out for
out
quite some time.
Agreed,
For veterans.
I'll follow up on it. And
So I got,
Dave, do you have anything? Okay. All right, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn our informal, go into our formal, do I have a second? Second by Mr. Brown, all those in favor?
I, yeah. Probably only one other person.
Billy Bob and a
yeah.
First, you are the other.
Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, I'd like to now turn it over to the mayor for his Veteran of the Month presentation. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. I love doing this only because it gives me an opportunity to meet all the veterans and to say thank you. And some of them I don't meet because they're deceased, but it's my honor to do this each month. Today's, or this month actually, of November is Laszlo Papp. In 1943, Laszlo Papp immigrated from Hungary to Germany, Munich, Germany. And in 1951, he entered the United States through Ellis Island. At the young age of 19, Laszlo enlisted in the U.S. Air Force as a refrigerator and air conditioning technician. In 1967, he re-enlisted in Spain. In 1968, he attended the World's Fair in San Antonio, Texas, while in the Air Force. In 1970, he was deployed to Vietnam. Following his completion of a 4-year term of service, Laszlo re-enlisted with the U.S. Air Force, serving until 1971. 1971, Laszlo completed 8 years of service and obtained the rank of Air Force Staff Sergeant. During his 8 years of service, Laszlo earned the following medals: the National Defense Service Medal, Republic of Vietnam Service Medal, Vietnam Service Medal with 1 oak leaf cluster, Air Force Good Conduct Medal, and the Air Force Longevity Service Award. Thank you to Laszlo Papp for your honorable service to your country and your dedication to the city of Tonawanda community. Come on up and thank you. Laszlo, I always get yelled at because I leave this little sticker on there. That's over the sign, so I don't take that off. I want to say congratulations. Thank you for your service. We're going to give you this one, and this one's gonna hang in the hallway until the next month, the way it's set. So, take care and show it after, we're gonna show it off, how's that?
Gonna bring the whole family, wants the whole family with photo. Everybody was. I'll take the photo. I have a photo. Come on. Oh, she. That's a good one. No. Can you just open up? Everyone looking?
Gary, you should be proud. You know, good to see you, my friend.
The family photo, I'll get printed out and I'll bring it to your house. Okay. Hang it on your mantle for Christmas. Yeah.
Okay, moving along, communications from the mayor have been ordered and filed. Communications from city officials and correspondents have also been ordered and filed. At this time, I'll now turn it over to the mayor for his public hearing on the proposed 2025 operating budget, sewer budget, and 5-year capital plan. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. The budget has been distributed. This is the last time we're going to do it. I'm going to ask, are there any questions on the 2025 budget? Are there any questions on the 2025 budget? Yes, ma'am.
You just approach the microphone.
Come on.
So, Mr. Clerk, we have a comment on the floor on the mayor's proposed budget. You just have to state your name and address for the record.
Anna Sorrento. What else?
Your address for the,
5 8th Street.
Okay. Your question, ma'am.
I was just wondering if you guys are gonna, go ahead and do the parking lot in the back of the Tonawanda Towers.
You know, man, that's a consideration that we filed with the DRI and the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. And once the state makes that decision, they vet, we sent 12 projects in. Yes, that is one of them, because it's concerned a liability for you to walk on it, for anybody to walk on it. So that is a project that was submitted, and if the state agrees on it, we'll have that done with the DRI. So it is in the plans.
Do they pay for it?
Oh, no, it's paid through the $10 million grant that we got from the state, that we were awarded the
Or
city.
would you have to get approval from them?
Of what projects are going to be approved. That is correct.
Thank you.
You are welcome. I'm going to ask the last time out of the three, is there any questions on the 2025 budget? Mario, are there any?
At this time, Mr. Mayor, no, there's no one.
After the third time, I'm going to use and say that the 2025 budget is closed. Done.
all right, thank you, Mayor. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public on the resolutions. For those that are joining us virtually, there's a spot for you to raise your hand. Please do so, and the clerk will call upon you. If you're joining us in person and you wish to comment on the resolutions, please approach the microphone. Mr. Clerk, any resident wishing to address the council on the resolutions?
No, ma'am, not at this time.
Okay, let's proceed.
Resolution number 1, sponsored by Councilmember Mylum.
Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Sheasley.
Resolved that the common council minutes from November 5th, 2024 be accepted as filed.
Comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Roundstrow.
Aye.
Mylum.
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 2, sponsored by Councilmember Fisher.
Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Mylum.
Resolved that this common council adopt the general fund, water fund, and sewer fund operating budgets for the fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2025. making appropriations to conduct city government, and further be it resolved that the budgets that were presented at a public hearing on November 19th, 2024 are hereby adopted as amended and revised, and that the several amounts as set forth be and are hereby appropriated for the objects and purposes specified in the 2025 operating budgets and the capital plans for 2025 through 2029 on file in the office of the city clerk. Total general fund budget, property tax levy, $15,552,821. Taxable assessment, $1,207,641,685, subject to change. Property tax rate per thousand, taxable assessed valuation, 12.878672, subject to change. Total sewer fund budget, $2,684,518, with a rate of $6.50 per thousand gallons and a minimum usage of 40,000 gallons.
Comments or questions?
Comment.
Mr. Fisher.
I fought to keep the mayor from going over the tax cap. We won that battle. There was no tax cap override. To say some words, when government spending happens without taxpayer consent, it raises deficits, increases inequality, it undermines democracy. So how do we get taxpayer consent? It's through your elected officials. That's us. We're the ones who grant that. I sponsored this because when we went around the table in the informal, they couldn't get a sponsor. And I guess, put up or shut up. And I said, if the mayor doesn't go over the tax cap, the budget would be good. Then they try to slide a line in at the last minute, which was taken out. So the budget stands as how it was. That being said, there is a huge chunk coming out of the general fund, but the taxpayers aren't going to see that. Tax rate subject to change, and that's because of the assessment, give or take. It's $12.87 per 100,000 assessed. Or I'm sorry, per thousand assessed. Last year it was $12.47, so it's roughly a 40 cents increase because of the 2% tax cap. So all things considered, the taxpayers were protected. There's going to have to be some serious cuts if we are going towards a fiscal cliff, but right now, because we are flush with money in the reserve fund, it did make sense to take the money out of the reserve fund, pay for what we need to run the city, and then not pass that on to the taxpayers. And this is where we are. So my name's on it as the sponsor because we got to do what we got to do. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Any other comments? Mr. Rostrow?
I'd like to start out with this budget that was presented to us by the budget or by the mayor. I do give the mayor a lot of credit for his due diligence, for the cuts that he's made on the budget as a whole. I think it took a lot of work, a lot of time, and probably a lot of grief to pass that along to. All that being said, there's still a $2 million coming from the reserves. In my mind, a conservative budget covers the recurring expenses with recurring revenue. We're still not there. I have an issue with this before. I brought it up over the last couple of years that we need to get that a little closer. I'll argue it with the mayor, and we've talked back and forth that maybe there's too much in the reserve fund. But I still don't think that we'll know that for sure until the final audit of 2023 is done in 2024. And I'd rather err on the side of caution and talk about the amount of money that the levy has increased. It's cost more and more to run city government. And we need to accept that. We can't hide that under a withdrawal from the reserve to do that. All in all, if this was our final budget and we had talked about it and workshopped it, this would probably be an acceptable compromise to me as far as accepting the budget. But as it stands, I do have my concerns. It's a budget that was passed that was under the tax cap, not passing a tax increase onto our residents. they don't see it now, as Councilman Fisher says, but my fear is they're going to see it next year or the year after. That kicking of the can down the road is only gonna bite us in the butt later, and we're gonna have to face the amount of the cost of increased money or budget. I think we provide great services to our city. I think we have a great departments. We want to see that continue. And if that means we have to pay a little bit extra, then we have to have serious conversations about that. A couple meetings ago, I had also mentioned for the people that do come out and want us to cut the budget, cut the spending. You know, it's more than just making cuts, just stopping things. It's about what services are we willing to do without or have less of if we do. I think it's important for all of us to understand that, to discuss that, and have that as part of the discussion. We are getting this next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Any other comments? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstrau,
Nay.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public following the resolutions. For those that are joining us virtually, there's a spot for you to raise your hand. Please do so, and the clerk will call upon you. If you're joining us in person, please approach the microphone. Mr. Clerk, we have a comment on the floor.
Jean Mattingly, 63 Gas Terrace. And Krista Bailey, who done this, we had someone come up here a couple of weeks ago. And I really hope that we have some kind of plan. I mean, I personally have had fawns born in my yard for the last 2 years. I have a mama deer that's in my yard every day, laying in my backyard. And I mean, I'm upset about the amount of damage done to my yard, the hundreds of dollars I've spent to keep them out of my vegetable garden. And I never even thought about the danger of having ticks in the backyard. So I hope that we will.
Thank you for your comment. Any other comments? Mr. Clerk, any resident wishing to address the council virtually?
No, Madam Council President, not at this time.
I don't think that microphone's on, because I couldn't hear it.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Sheasley.
I'd like to, for Mr. Pop, thank you for his service. Also, an old friend, Linda Foles, who worked back in the 70s in the rec department. Known her since she's been a young kid. Her brother was a good friend of mine. I passed away in here, but it was a great asset to the city. I feel for the family of that, and hopefully everybody supports them. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Sheasley. Mr. Fisher.
I'd also like to say congratulations to Mr. Pop on being the Veteran of the Month. For this month, or for this council meetings, Chris Fisher gives back. It was $61.11. That's $50 plus $11.11 for Veterans Day. And that went to the VVA to use for whatever they want. I think they said they're going to put it towards their food pantry, but it's their money. They can do whatever they want for my donation. I've spoken to the family of Terrence Wyatt, that it's a tragedy on what happened on Delaware and Benton. I just ask that everyone keeps that family in their prayers as we get into the holiday season. Also speaking about Linda Foles, I've been in contact with the family there. We just had an informal discussion that we're going to look at naming a park after her. To steal from Kevin Hardwick's write-up about Linda in 2015, Linda worked in every position available inside the Tonawanda Recreation Department from 1970 to 1978 and promoted to recreation director in 1994. She was an EMT. She was a receiver of the Niagara Frontier Recreation and Park Society's John Silsby Award and one of the Tonawanda News's first Woman of the Year. Active member of the youth board and coached almost every sport available for 40 years. So Parks and Rec was her legacy. So all of us getting together and figuring out how we can put a park together and name a park after her would be a great tribute to her. And then lastly, volunteer firefighters. I know in the budget, we talked about the increase from 7,500 to 7,800.
and I'd like to just say it again, we say it every time we talk about volunteer firefighters, the fight's never about the money. The fight's about the accountability. We want them to be well-funded, but we appreciate the service of the combination department that they bring forward. I had to be educated myself because I used to ask, well, if they're not fighting fires, what are they doing? And I went and I sat with the volunteer fire department and they did educate me. They have rehab, they have fire police. They have all these different services that makes up the team that works with the career firefighters, and the combination department of volunteer career is what our city benefits from. So it's never about the funding, it's always about the accountability. So all of us were in support, and we those lines in the budget for them with the increase. And we want to say thank you to our volunteer and our career firefighters for everything they do. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Mr. Rautenstrau.
Thank you, Madam President. You know, without being repetitive, I do share the sentiments of our press service members. Thank you, Mr. Lezelpop, for your service. My condolences to family of Nichols. She's a great asset to our city during the time that she worked for us and the volunteer work that she did after that as well. I also want to agree with Mr. Fisher with our volunteers. It's something that's been discussed over the years. There's always questioning. We do want to see the accountability. That's what's important to us. That's what we represent to our constituents. We want to be able to tell them that. Beyond that, you know, they do a great deal of service to our community beyond bringing volunteer firefighters, all the different corps. Do an amazing job. When we close our streets. It's great to have those people around. So I'm glad we're able to support them. Finally, many of you may have seen mailers come over the last week. I've heard from other people too in regards to Greenlight Networks, which is an alternate internet plan, a fiber plan that's coming in the city of Tonawanda, an alternate to Spectrum for internet service. I've seen the mailers out there. They are accepting free registration. I've had a few people that have mentioned they've gone online and paid money to have registered. You know, it's my understanding they've on fiber throughout the city. There is a private investor, a private company that is hosting the top site. You know, so things are moving forward. So I'm excited to see an alternate for our city. Over the 8 years that I've served on the council, it's great to see that pursuit come to fruition. I'm excited about the opportunities and the alternatives. That's it for this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rautenstrau. Mr. Mylum.
Thank you, Madam President. Same as everybody else. Thank you to Mr. Pop for his service. It was a very interesting story presentation. How long he served, where he served. I think it speaks to a greater good when you hear that he was actually an immigrant to this country to come and do that. That makes it even better. Linda Foles, close friends with the family, and sorry that I was just hearing about this tonight. I didn't hear about it until it came out. So that is definitely a loss for the city. As for the budget, I think we owe the residents a low tax increase this year. I think we owe it to them, especially with what our reserves are at, and especially with what everybody's paying and everything else that has gone up. If there's one thing that we can help out with, that's it. And I think it's a good budget. I am concerned for what's coming in the next couple of years. I just hope that whoever's sitting in these seats can right that ship or figure out where the revenue is going to come from. So thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam President. Number one, I just want to, again, thank Laszlo Pop for his service, like everybody else said. Linda Foles. Linda Foles was a pioneer. I worked with her back in the 70s at the castle for a night gym. I worked with her at Gateway Harbor for 10 years. I was the liaison for the concerts. Worked with her on many, many projects. She was a fighter. She was smart. She had integrity. She had empathy. And she did what was right for the city. City was her life. And it's kind of odd, but what she did for the city was unbelievable. She put Parks and Rec on the map. Baseball, basketball, everything for the kids. Her whole life was for the kids. It was told that it takes a city to grow a child. In her case, it took Linda to grow a city. And that really does fit. It really does for Linda. Don't forget, It's a Wonderful Life is coming. It's going to be this December 6th from 6 to 10 on Main Street. And we'll have the lighting of Clinton Park, as we always do in the past, with Mr. and Mrs. Claus again. So that'll be nice. The deer. First of all, the deer have been moved from their habitat and we build houses. We're starting to do work all over the place and we move them around. The deer have an opportunity of grabbing hamburger in the woods or filet mignon on your shrubs. They're gonna grab the filet mignon every day. And that's bottom line what they're doing. They come where the food is. And that's a simple process. For us to bait and shoot in a city our size, it can't be done. It really can't. Some cities have tried it with bows and that. It's inhumane to see a deer run down the street with an arrow in it and the kids see it. It's just, we're a small community. The only thing I can say is cover your shrubs, cover your bushes. They can't get at them that way. Stake them off for the wintertime, burlap them, whatever. But to do something legally with them, it's very difficult. And I don't think, bless you again. I don't think the council could approve something that would be inhumane for the deer. The budget, you know what? I'll be darned if I'm gonna have 15 million to bank and raise the taxes up 6%. It's not gonna happen. And I think it was a good decision. And you know what? We're budgeting for what our expenses are gonna be, but not one person put in there what is our gonna be our revenue. So we need to increase the revenue. Is it simple? No, it's not simple, but it's something that isn't in there that we need to do. The big R, revenue. And that is bringing business in. The $10 million will help, absolutely. It's not gonna happen right away. It's down the road. But we've got other things like Riverview and Spalding and David Holmes, and there's just so much out there that it's exciting, but we're missing that fact. We can't move forward without that revenue. So we're just looking at the expenses. That's all we're looking at. So let's be positive, and I'm positive the expenses are gonna happen, but I'm also positive the revenues are gonna happen too. So I think it's a good budget, a fair budget. And as David said, our taxpayers deserve a break. And to go at 2% is a good one. I think, look around you, wait to see what our surrounding communities do. You're gonna see 8%, 9%, 12%, even higher. So we did a darn good job as a council that gives you a 2%. I feel comfortable with that. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you, Mayor. I echo the sentiments of my colleagues and thank Mr. Pop for his service to our country and certainly our community. I'd like to thank our city treasurer, our department heads, our administrative assistant, the mayor, and the council for the work and the feedback, the dialogue regarding this budget. I agree with Councilmember Mylum's assessment and Councilman Fisher's assessment regarding the budget. And ultimately, I do agree and support that. Last and certainly not least, I'd also like to comment about the passing of Linda Foles. Linda was my first manager. I took a Parks and Rec job and Linda was my manager, and she was amazing. She loved her community. She loved her family. She loved sports. She was also named under the awards and certificates that Councilman Fisher mentioned. She was also named the Chamber of Commerce Lifetime Achievement Person of the Year back in 2018. She is going to be deeply missed, and her trademark on our community hopefully will last forever. Please, as you leave tonight, keep in your thoughts and prayers the family of Linda Foles, her children, and our entire community. With that said, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn in memory of Linda Foles. And thank you all for coming. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Fisher. All those in favor? Have a good night, everybody.